Black Myth Wukong just delivered one of the best launch trailers for a video game I've seen in a while, and it has me insanely excited to play later this month. It honestly feels surreal that we were this close to finally being able to experience this game. Like, I remember seeing the initial announcement and thinking to myself, like, holy crap, this is the first Unreal Engine 5 game that truly looks next generation, and if Game Science, the developer, can stick the landing, it could be a pivotal turning point for the action RPG genre and for Chinese game development. Now, in the trailer, we got our first look at new combat gameplay, new bosses, new shape-shifting transformations, never before seen mechanics, new explorable areas, characters, and story cutscenes. Guys, this trailer was stacked to the brim with content, and today I'll be discussing everything from the trailer as well as the latest news and details for Black Myth Wukong. We have a lot to cover, so check the video chapters for easy viewing, and let's dive in. So first things first, as you know, Game Science released the final trailer for Black Myth Wukong, and during that announcement, they also gave us launch timing details. The developer wrote on Twitter and had this to say: "Re-embark on the journey to the west. The final trailer for action RPG Black Myth Wukong, developed by Game Science, is set to go online today ahead of the game's official release." They continued on with saying all of the trailer content is taken from the actual PC version of the game, and Black Myth Wukong will be officially available on August 20th at 10 a.m. UTC +8, which is 6 a.m. Eastern Time, on PS5, Steam, Epic Game Store, and Wii Game. So now this brings us to the trailer itself. We're going to do a brief breakdown of the trailer, point out some of the highlights as well as some things you might have missed. Now, in the first shot, at about 9 seconds in, this region is in a mountainous area. You see structures and paths on each side. On the right side, you can see a big drum, which doesn't seem to have any noticeable significance just yet, and later in the trailer, we get to see that same drum with a character beating on the drum. Now, the shot continues, and we get the open desert area. With how open this area is, it seems like it'd be a good place to put a boss. Now, at about 25 seconds in the trailer, we're in another mountain region. This time, it's a wooded area, but if you take a look on the right, you can actually see a mystical tree with green crystals on its head and slowly clapping its hands menacingly. Now, I'm guessing that this is likely an enemy type, perhaps a mini boss that you come across while you're traveling through the area. Now, in the next scene, you can see what looks to be Buddhist statues with creatures of some kind sitting down. I can't really make out if this is a statue or if it's an enemy, but it looks pretty cool. Now, the trailer continues on, and we are in a snowy mountain range with statues, and then at the stomach of the statue, it looks like a passage of some kind. At 55 seconds in, we can see Sun Wukong approaching an enemy that he likely just took down, which is a fire wolf. Now, Wukong then approaches the staff on the ground that belonged to the fire wolf, and then shrunk the staff down and stuck it in his ear. And this is where we got to see our first transformation in this trailer, which again is the fire wolf. And what's cool is the movesets that Wukong is doing in the fire wolf transformation is likely the same ones that are going to be in this boss fight. So the way I'm picturing how this gameplay goes is you fight an enemy, and then you have the ability to actually take on the transformation of the enemy that you just fought. Moving forward in the trailer a bit, we see yet another transformation for Wukong. This time he's got what looks like a boulder as an upper torso embedded with skulls. So I guess it's not just a boulder, it's a rock. And for this transformation, the moves are pretty self-explanatory. It seems like a tank type build that can absorb AoE elemental damage. One of the moves is a ground pound, which looks pretty sick. Next up for this shot, we have yet another transformation. This time Wukong has a bug of some kind on his head, which can deal poison damage with the staff. Now, moving right along, we have our next shape-shifting transformation in the trailer. Wukong has two tentacles that he could use to pick up objects or stuff on the ground like these snowballs and then chuck them at enemies. He can do a spinning attack with his tentacles, and then from the looks of it, if you spin the tentacles around for long enough, you could perform an AoE wind plus ground pound attack. Continuing on with the trailer, at 127, Wukong is taking the transformation of a rat with two heads that, as you can see, can breathe fire, which looks pretty freaking sick. Wukong is wielding a dagger, and then the AoE attack is just a big fire explosion. The trend I'm seeing with these transformations so far is there's some kind of AoE ground pound attack as well as a big fire explosion that also causes AoE damage. The video then continues with Wukong in a snowy mountainous region that looks like the same open area from one of the earlier gameplay showcases with the big lightning-like dragon. And then as the shot pans away, you can see him sit at what looks like a site of grace of some kind. So perhaps this area is kind of like Elden Ring, where you sit at the site of grace and it sets your spawn point. You can then go to level up your character. Now, it could totally be something different, but the way he's meditating, it seems like a save point of some kind. The next shot, we see the dragon heating up and swimming in the water. And then we get to this shot right here, which honestly, I've watched this quite a few times. We have what looks to be a fox-like creature. I'm not exactly sure if this is a Wukong transformation. It totally could be, but I'm just not sure. My guess is that it's one of the NPCs, and as you can see, they're stoking this fire, or the magic cauldron type thing. And then once you stoke it enough, it explodes and it spits out an elixir, which looks like like the same object that Wukong carries around. So perhaps through our travels, we will come across this fox guy and they'll be able to make us different potions. Maybe this guy is like the Brock or Sindri of this game, or this is just another transformation of Wukong and the cauldrons are scattered throughout the game and we can go up to them, stoke the fire, and craft elixirs at them. We then get to this person who we don't actually know who they are, but it seems like one of the characters we meet during our journey. He grabs an object from our hand. We then cut to another character who, again, I'm not sure who this is either, so I'm not able to speculate much, but continuing on in the trailer, you can see Wukong go through a portal of some kind. Now this is likely how we'll either travel to certain boss areas in the game or even go to different regions of Black Myth Wukong. Next up, we have another shot of Wukong receiving some sort of item. We have another character. This person looks like an ally, but again, we're not sure. Now in the next scene, we have Wukong about to knock on the door of an NPC's house. The creature or person that opens up the door looks pretty gnarly. I can't wait to find the context of this greeting. And then at 2:13 in the trailer, we have this smaller humanoid creature, possibly a story character or just one of the enemy types. Now a second later, we have a mandrill type monkey looking like it came straight out of Lion King. And then there's this person that looks like a normal human. At 2:16 in the trailer, you could see what looks like a human and a dragon mix. The next shot is a Tony the Tiger looking dude. Continuing on, we have Sun Wukong standing in front of a statue, doing a pose or some type of prayer of some kind. This is where things start to get wild. At 2:22, you could see a toddler-like character just chowing down on some watermelon. Funny enough, we actually have some context regarding this character. According to this user on the Black Myth Wukong Reddit, they said this, and I quote, "This guy is most likely the Buddha Maitreya. He appears in the chapter where they fight the yellow brow demon, who disguises him and his army as Buddha and Arhats to trick journeying monks and eat them. He also owns a pair of divine symbols that can absorb and seal a person. This demon is subdued after Maitreya disguises himself as a watermelon farmer and gives him watermelon, which is actually a transformed Wukong, and he beats him up from the inside." The Redditor then said that's how it goes in the original. Black Myth will probably do something else. Continuing on at 2:26 in the trailer, we have a big head boss we will likely fight. But what's interesting about this scene is the creature dissolves and Wukong throws out this Pokeball type device and it absorbs the energy, which from the trailer is another way we shapeshift. The next shot, Wukong is fighting an enemy and quickly transforms to the same big-headed spike creature. Now the enemy that he's fighting is legit a tiger with a dragon-like neck. Moving on to 2:41, we have yet another transformation. This time Wukong is unloading fire shots at a boss. A couple seconds later, we have another transformation. This time it's a creature with a red clothing. It almost looks like a weasel or even like a ferret of some kind with the moves of Master Splinter. It could be a mouse or a rat, I don't even know. Now a second later, we have another ability or transformation. This time, upon being attacked, a Doctor Strange like astral projection happens and essentially dodges the incoming damage. At 2:45, Wukong is facing the similar tiger human creature. This is probably phase 2 of that fight, possibly. Wukong is able to manipulate his staff to be larger, but then as you could see, he quickly transforms and use a giant sword and attack the tiger. Now in the next scene, we see Wukong fighting a humanoid scorpion. This one has an AoE poison attack. Wukong uses an ability that sends spikes to the enemy. At 2:54 in the trailer, he transforms into a wolf with dual daggers and attacks. A second later, we could see one of those giant creatures. The creature spots Wukong and then he turns himself into a small tree, which was a certified Skyrim Stealth 100 move. At 2:59, we see either a wolf or a fox that's running. The next shot, we see a giant creature in the background. It almost looks like a tortoise or turtle or dragon of some kind. For those of you that are read up on the lore, let me know what this is. I personally don't even know. At 3:06, Wukong is seen fighting a mystical head with tusks. The next few shots that we see are a variety of mystical creatures, bosses, and enemies. Game Science absolutely crushed it with the enemy design. It's really given me FromSoft levels of quality. Jumping to 3:25 in the trailer, Wukong puts a mask on this statue-like figure. A few seconds later, we see a figure beating the drum, similar to the one from the start of the trailer. Moving a bit forward at 3:38, you see a rhino, which is likely going to be a transformation. At 3:42, we see a rock golem with heads embedded in them, which is likely the enemy we have to defeat to get the rock-like transformation for our upper torso. Moving on, we have more bosses like this crustacean or possibly an arachnid. Either way, it looks like Dwayne Johnson from the Scorpion King. Let me know if you guys were old enough to remember that movie. At 3:46, we see a mantis boss. At 3:50, Wukong is being absolutely manhandled by this winged fire-bladed enemy. A few seconds later, we see 4 characters that look absolutely terrifying. I'm guessing that these are also enemies, but it could be that there are allies as well. The trailer then concludes with Wukong talking and having tea with a character. An enemy approaches them and is hit by a flame force field that the two are being protected by. And then the trailer concludes. Like I said, guys, this trailer was absolutely incredible. Everything from the the score to the gameplay we got, the variety of enemies, the regions, all of the various mechanics that they showcased, they pulled no punches. So massive props to the team at Game Science. Honestly, I don't know how you watch that trailer and are not immediately thinking about playing it. From everything we've seen about Black Myth Wukong, it seems like this game really is a turning point, not only for Game Science, the developer, but for Chinese game development. Games like Black Myth Wukong, as well as Phantom Blade Zero, are some of my most anticipated games to play. Not only that, we have Delta Force Hawk Ops that recently came out in alpha. It's been taking up nearly all of my time. Either way, August 20th can't come soon enough. I can't wait to play Black Myth Wukong. Let me know if you guys plan on playing it in the comment section. If you've enjoyed my coverage of Black Myth Wukong over the months, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe with your notifications turned on so you're not missing out on any future Black Myth Wukong videos. And until next time, this has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.